I record myself.
Just for fun. Yeah?
The other side of the humbleness.
your deeper humility.
Yeah. To listen to myself all over again. So yeah, good morning. Welcome. Yeah, maybe I'll give a brief introduction to what is going to happen or what I'm going to say. And there can be questions about this or comments, or if no one comes up with something, that's also fine. So we don't have to talk, but there's also no need for silence. It just doesn't matter. Feel free to share or not, or to participate or not. We're talking about liberation, and the good thing is that there is no such thing as liberation. So there is no real issue. In that sense, it's really about nothing. And one could say that's apparently the special thing about this meeting, about this event, that it's about nothing. So there is no goal in that. There is no intention to reach somewhere or to attain something or to understand something or to transcend something. There is no intention to get rid of something or to get something. This is all there is. This is everything, so to speak. So every intention or every goal would be imaginary or illusionary anyway. This is just it. In that sense, I don't have a message. I don't have anything to give. I'm not ahead. I don't know more, which is quite obvious, I think. Yeah, there's no message. That's about all I can say in that sense. The apparent dilemma, so to speak, starts when what appears, or what apparently happens, appears as the sense of I am. And this is not a thought, this is not a conditioning or anything. It's the experience, the energetic sense of I am, an entity that's existing here. There is something here. A person, I am, a person, pure I am, or just awareness. There is something here that I am, that is a core of my being. I'm something. That's concerning this message. This is seen as illusory too. There is no I am. There is no core. There is no separate identity that I am, in contrast to something that I'm not. So all there is what is. It's just this. There is no separation here. There aren't separate parts. There is not a person and other people and a room and thoughts and feelings. It's just, one could say, all undividedly one. The surprise is, one could say, without anyone only experiencing it, without anyone who's only experiencing a situation, it's complete, it's free and wild and whole and complete, but for no one. There is no one left to experience wholeness. But as the apparent me, or all that the apparent me knows is to experience, it wants to experience wholeness or completeness. And that is its dilemma. It wants to experience something that doesn't exist as something. And the experience, one could also say, the experience should happen for someone that doesn't exist too. So this whole setup of I am and I experience something, a situation, feelings, thoughts, my life, This whole setup is illusory. Within that setup, there is no arriving, there is no finding, there is no experience of, no lasting experience of what is talked about here. So, seen from this apparent me, one could say, what we talk about here is death. It's not something that happens within that setup, an insight, for example, or a realization. It's just death. It's just the blow-up of that setup of I experience something. The surprise is within that blow-up, or while blowing up, it turns out that there isn't anyone there to be blown up. There is no me existing in the first place. It is already illusory. Me isn't real. And in that sense, the story of me dropping is also a story. There is no me to drop. There is no me existing in the first place. What's left is nothing special. What's left is sitting in a room and looking at each other, and chairs and a sofa, and maybe thoughts or feelings or whatever. What's left is this, and again, without someone only experiencing it, it's just everything. Without someone experiencing it, the ordinary becomes marvelous. But again, for no one. What happens doesn't need anyone to experience it as whole. That's the freedom. It's just this. There's nothing to reach, nothing to attain, nothing to lose. There isn't anything else than this.
Well, I just want to say, like, after yesterday's session, I felt a lot of defensiveness and wanting to hold on to where I think I've arrived.
Yeah.
And all the work I've done.
Oh, yeah.
And all of that. And when I woke up this morning, it was the same thing, like a lot of defensiveness and why am I going? And then, I guess to quote Eckhart Tolle, because I love his words, there was a deeper, deeper knowing that was there and was saying, somewhere this is love, and somewhere I want to I'm going back. It felt like that, like a deeper knowing. And
what do you mean by going
weird.
back?
Well, it was weird. It was like this deeper knowing, and almost in that spot, because I'm talking about like extreme duality here. You know, there's like this
apparent, not really, but
apparent like person that's holding on to everything I've been doing.
That's what apparently happens, yeah.
Yeah, and then
it's not really duality, but
it feels like it.
Yeah.
And then there was like this really, as I say, I'm copying Eckhart Tolle's words, deep knowing that was there. I'll say it was there, and I had flashes of contentment, and within the fighting of my mind going, don't go back. It was weird. It was this
don't go back means don't come back here. Oh, all right. No, okay.
Well, it didn't want to be destroyed.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
It was holding on for its life.
Yeah.
And maybe in the past, it's happened many times.
Yeah.
It's not any new thoughts, it's no new experience, it's the same holding on, defending fear.
Yeah.
Nothing new.
Yeah, me is afraid to die, so it starts to become active. Yeah, well,
You know,
that's
you're
what it does.
feeling, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
That's what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. And one could almost say there's a joy about it, because it's not wrong, or it's not that this shouldn't be. Obviously, that is what apparently happens. And yes, that's it.
That's what was weird. There was a joy about it.
Of
it
course.
wasn't like it was
There isn't
like,
anything, there is no liberation, there isn't anything else.
Yeah.
Then what apparently happens? Of course, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the. I would, yeah. I don't know what more to say.
Yeah. Yeah, me might think of it as a new step. As if this whole happening isn't quite it, but may lead to some future better whatever.
Right.
No, but that's it. And obviously it's joyful in a way.
Right.
It's just it. Yeah.
The illusion of joy.
It's what apparently happens. It's real and unreal. Exactly. But I wouldn't say the illusion of joy. It's illusory, so to speak. It's real and unreal, but obviously it is what happens. That's it. Whoa.
It's in the body. It feels in the body, and the mind was doing another thing. It felt like that, like I said, extreme
That is what happened.
duality.
Or that is what apparently happened. Yeah.
Right.
It's not that the joy is the real thing and the other thing is the
No.
unreal. It's just undividedly what happens, and it's both real and unreal.
Yeah.
Me might think I experience joy and I experience the fighting, and that would be the dream. The experience of that would be the dream. But the joy or the fighting is not the illusion. That's what happens, obviously. That's it. But yes, it's not only real. It's real and unreal.
Yeah.
So nothing to get rid of.
I'm just not that smart.
What?
I am not that smart.
Smart?
Well, to know.
No, I don't
anything.
know that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I
anything.
don't know anything either.
No.
It's not me enlightened seeing that or seeing through that. That would be the dream.
Yeah.
And no one is seeing through anything. No, I'm not smart. Though I know. It may look like that. No. I'm not. Oh, well. And in a way, me doesn't decide to come here or to not come here anyway. So, it's not me coming. It's what happens. And me might live in the illusion that I decided to come or I defend to come. But it just is what happens.
It felt like that. There was no decision.
Yeah.
There was no decision. I was just coming no matter what.
Exactly. Yeah, you try to not come. Many people do. But
The very last second you find yourself rushing up to get there. Yeah.
No one really came here, did they?
That's true, of course, yeah. But I am here is the dream, so actually there's no one here.
What does to this illusion? No, I don't know. What does prevent you from stopping the illusion and just kill yourself?
The thing is that there is no one having an illusion. So it's just wholeness itself, or what apparently happens is the sense of I am. So in the end, no one is preventing that from dying, but it just is what happens. So that's the dilemma for the me, that the sense of I am happens as impersonal as everything else. So death, in that sense, can't be done, because there is no one to decide. There is no separate entity having a me, or there's no separate entity who is separate, who can willingly become one. That's the dream, that there is a separate entity who is separate and can become one, who is unenlightened and can become enlightened, who is bound and can become free. Exactly, that's the dream. That instance doesn't exist. There's no way out of it. If it happens, if me is what apparently happens, there's no way out of it. Because that too just is what apparently happens.
Do you think that life can be more joyful if we totally have accepted that everything is an illusion and understood it transcendent? Does it make life, does it give more joy or love? Does it give a sense? Or is it just, you understand it and still the same, you're suffering until the end?
Neither nor. It's not an understanding. So here isn't an instant sitting who knows that or understands that or has an advantage of seeing through that. It's just the death of that sense of I am. It's just the death. So what's left is not a sense of love, is not a sense of joy, but what's left is love itself, one could say. It's a little bit, it's wholeness, it's love itself, which doesn't need any special feeling to be good. So feelings of joy or suffering, whatever suffering is, sadness or rage or whatever, it doesn't count. They are not values on their own, as they are for the apparent me, which thinks that feelings or experiences has values. Like joy has a high value, it's plus, while rage is minus. That's the dream. So when there is no one, or one could also say, what dies together with the sense of I am is the sense that something is wrong, that something is missing, that I still have to find something. But it's not an understanding, it's not me understanding it, and everything goes, it's just me dying. Understanding is not helpful, because then it's just me understanding it and still goes on seeking. Because the seeking energy comes really out of an experience of being separate. It's energetic. I'm separate from that, from the situation I'm in. And within that apparent separation, there's a sense of something is missing. This isn't it. So, but maybe if I do the right thing, or feel the right way, or know the right way, I will find it in the future. So when me dies, that whole setup dies. And the miracle is what remains is pretty much the same as before, but there is no one there to experience it as separate and as unfulfilling. What's left in the end is undescribable. I can't say how it is. Because I'm not there anymore to experience it.
What about pain? Physical pain?
Is what apparently happens and is apparently painful. Apparently it doesn't make it less painful in a way. It's not about, it's just painful. But there would be no one there to experience it as not it. But the experience of not it doesn't get replaced by an experience of that's it. This is the dream I am would have. That I can learn to experience this as absolute. And it fails again and again. Because whenever it's there, it experiences what is as not it. That's all it can do. So what we are talking about is not, as I said, it's not happening within the setup of I am, it's just the annihilation of it. And what's left is naturally whole by itself. So the unenlightened experience, whatever that is, it's a dream, doesn't get replaced by an enlightened experience. That doesn't exist. Both don't exist.
When you're talking about apparently like pain, and then automatically I think about, bad illnesses like cancer and stuff like that. I think something that was, I guess, I don't know what to call it, interesting, but the teacher, American teacher Ram Dass, he had a major stroke and couldn't move at all. And when I read his book, he said that for years, the doctors had told him, you have really high blood pressure, you have this, you have that, you should take these pills. And he was like, I'm not the body. And then he had this major stroke and he's like, wow, the body is my temple and...
yeah, it's both a story.
Yeah, okay.
It's a change of perspective from a personal perspective. Both perspective has nothing to do with what's being said here.
Okay.
Because in the one perspective is me and I'm not the body.
Yeah.
And then something heavily body happens, so it changes to a more spiritual standpoint, like, the body is my temple, in which I rest. Sorry.
No, that's good. But for me it was confusing, not confusing, but...
Of course, a body obviously is what apparently happens.
Yeah.
There is nothing here and I'm not that. That's crap.
Yeah. Well, not to be snobbish, but I mean, I never saw him as an awakened teacher, but I saw him as somebody who's very...
Yeah, he doesn't matter, but it's just what he's sharing is quite common as concepts, or how to find the right standpoint towards whatever. That's what's me. That's one method of me trying to find the right approach towards life, or the right attitude towards life.
Right.
And those two would be attitudes or standpoints, approaches. But I mean, obviously cancer happens and obviously it's painful. And in a way, this message doesn't try to make something good.
It's not necessarily always painful.
It's not necessary, because one could say in a way it is already good. It's whole. good not as the me would think of good, but exactly that's the dream.
It's
That
more the fear of being so terrible. It can be cured, for example, as well. Isn't it the fear that people do have to say that it's painful, that it's worse, but can't it be transparent experience?
it can also be transformative, but still in a way, if there is someone, this would remain within the story of I am. Of course, many people experience also transformation through sickness, but what comes out of that is an apparently transformed person. Which is fine, there's nothing wrong with that, but they continue living with another story, with another personal story. That's fine, but not really what that is about.
I still didn't get what is it about.
Yeah, actually about nothing. That's really, that's the
So I
main
can
part.
go now, no?
It's not about transformation. It's about sitting in a room and talking to each other. It's about what already happens.
You think human being is intelligent enough to experience nothing?
No. It has nothing to do with intelligence, but that's exactly the dream. That I can experience nothing or no thing because all experience is to experience something. Whatever it is something. A feeling, an emptiness, a joy, a feeling of wholeness. It's always something. And it's always a part. It's always something that is apart from me. It's never nothing and never everything. It's always only a part. It will fail. It tries. Me tries it in meditation, in healing, in earning money, in whatever, in transcendence, in transformation. It tries to reach that experience and fails again. All it does is remain on a path towards that goal.
Does love matter?
It depends on what, no, of course not. Depends on what you mean by love, but nothing matters.
Can you say more about what love is?
That's what I mean. It depends on how you define it. In a way, there is no thing called love.
There is no thing called love.
Yeah.
That sounds not true. That sounds not true.
But one could say, which would just be a word, that all there is love, which is sitting in a room, which is this. But it would be no thing. It wouldn't be a thing called love. It would be no thing. Not a thing.
That's what I was going to ask. You know, when you say there is no thing, does that mean that all there is love, quote unquote? Like, is the no thing the energy of love?
One could call it
You know what I
love.
mean?
One could call it love, which doesn't need an experience of love to be whole. That's why it's love. One could say it's unconditional love, because it doesn't require anything. Sitting in a room, this doesn't require anything to be as it is.
So is the
That's
no,
love.
I guess I'm trying to ascertain whether the no thing that you speak of is just like an empty void, or is it
No,
the love?
you immediately turn it into something.
Okay,
Because I'm not talking about the no thing.
okay.
Sitting in a room is no thing. It's not a something. And one could say it's empty and full,
Right, okay.
which can't be understood. No thing can't be understood. But that's what that is. It's empty. It doesn't have a separate content. There's nothing in it. and at the same time it's completely alive and wild and full.
So you mean the nothing is already there, we just don't see it because we always see something.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely, yeah. All me consists of is overlooking that this is it, seeking it for something, and even this is it isn't strange because this isn't an it. But yeah, that's all me consists of. Not this. I have to become enlightened first. This can't be it. From experience, immediately, instantly, okay, but I'm looking for enlightenment. But that's all there is. There isn't anything else. And me requires a lot, one could say. Me has preconditions, what it thinks that it needs, that it's good. It must be good, it must feel joyful, it must be peaceful, whatever. I have to understand it, I have anything. But this doesn't require anything. It doesn't have to be good, doesn't have to be joyful, doesn't have to be experienced. It just is as it is. Without any requirements. That is, so to speak, unconditional love. Because there's no one there saying, but I need to be good, I need to be healthy or whatever. It doesn't do that. It just is as it is. It's free.
How relaxing.
Absolutely relaxed. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it is already completely relaxed. Everything just is as it is. Sofas, cushions, a room, thoughts and feelings and breathing bodies. It's completely, absolutely already relaxedly happening. It's no one's effort to do that.
Many people have moments without so-called I.
Yeah.
They once experience it and then start teaching it.
Yeah.
This is my way to teaching it to everybody.
Exactly. That is what what very often happens. Yeah.
That's also how big that experience is, but it's always for the me.
I mean, the dilemma is many people have a hole in their story or have an awakening or many awakenings, but they survive it, and then there is a switching thing. So in a way, what they teach is also the switching thing. They teach the holes, so to speak, which is coming from kind of an experience. It's not that they just understood it mentally. It happened in a way. But their own experience is whenever I'm there, I have to do something. To meditate, to come deeper into the moment, something, and that is what they teach. Then. Because it's coming out of their own experience. Of there being that, somehow obvious, but also of there being someone. Who, whenever there is someone, there is the need to do something for themselves. and they think that the host, their awakenings happen because they do that method. And what happens then, is that what many people do then claim that the path is the goal. Because that's their experience. They never experience a final arriving, so the personal conclusion is, well, there is no such thing as liberation. We can go on seeking forever. Which is a personal conclusion. They may, from the words, they may even come to the same conclusion, that there is no liberation. But out of a personal experience it is, because the seeking doesn't stop and they just have moments. They think that's freedom. We all have to practice.
So how do you kind of define liberation then, or what is liberation to you?
In a way, there is no such thing. All you can say about liberation would be a story. The death of I am, the complete death of I am. But which is a story because the life of I am, or the presence of I am, is illusory in the first place. So it isn't really two things, I, me and no me. That those two exist is the dream. So it's a story, I would say, liberation at the death of I am.
Or could you say the death of separation as well?
The end of separation, exactly. The end of that energetic setup. But in the end, it turns out that it was never real. So in the end, there is no such thing as liberation. It's the dream of that me, that there is a happening in the future that makes me free.
So the dream apparently happens to some people. The dream.
In a way, what's being said here is that there isn't a dream. Me is the dream, but there is no me, so there is no dream. That's
that
all.
dream is not.
That's all there is. There is wholeness. There is no dream going on here. No one has to wake up. No one has to understand anything. That there is a dream is the dream. No. There's just sitting in a room and that. What happens?
So, in a way, big deal. Apparently, there's a dream.
Exactly, one could say the dream is apparent too. It's not real. There is no real dream. Yeah. Yay!
You don't have to wake
Yeah.
up.
Absolutely.
You don't have to
Yeah.
wake up.
You don't have to anything.
Yeah.
Can I ask you a question? Which
Yeah.
I'm trying to say it, but I don't know how to say it without using words that you'll say, "Oh, that doesn't exist."
Yeah. Well, can't help
My
myself.
question is, what is your, given that there's no your, experience
I don't have one.
of life?
I don't have an experience of life.
What
Honestly, it's not
Okay.
just words. There
Okay.
is nothing here that exists, that experience anything. I'm not playing with words. That's the dream. I experience something, and I have a certain experience of life. My life is good, or I'm happy, or whatever. That's the dream. I can't-
I know what I want to ask you, but I don't know how to ask you without you.
Okay, sorry.
So it is. There appears to me that there is a body sitting over there.
That's the dream. But yeah, that's how. Sorry.
You know what I want to ask. So if this body went in the sea, which is a dream as well,
Yeah.
what would that be like for
I have no idea how it would be. In the sea,
when that body there goes into the sea on the beach?
into the
Up there.
ocean.
Right.
Go swimming.
Right.
But I have no idea.
Who has the idea?
There is no idea.
Well,
I don't know how it is.
What's it like for you to exist and go in the sea?
There is no how it is for me. I don't exist.
Okay. All right, that's that then. Thank you.
There is there isn't a separate personal experience.
Well, what's your connected, complete experience?
Of course not. I'm not connected.
Okay. What's your no thing experience?
Me is only connected. Connected is separation. It's either separate or connected. Both need two realities. I'm not separate. There is no I. It's all that, and it's whole, and it's complete, but there is no experience of it. I don't know how it is. I don't know how that is. It's unknowable, by the way, but it's not needed. Every knowing would be illusory. All knowing, oh, this is good for me. That's the dream. But for the me, it's the only reality. It knows itself, and it knows the situation, and it lives in knowing, in apparent knowing. How it is for me, I'm vegetarian, yeah, I don't like meat, but I like that music, and swimming in the sea is nice for me, always, well, mostly, it lives in, that's the dream, that's all the dream. I'm that person, I'm like that. This is how I feel, how my life is, I have a good life. Yeah, sometimes I'm angry, but it's good. Whatever. Can't really fake it. But that's all the dream, so to speak. That there is something like me and my life. And that I can know something about it. It's not wrong. But for the me, it's a reality that isn't real in the sense that it is experienced by the me. Because for the me, it's the only reality. It's all it knows. I am, and I experience something. And I have a life. And again, that's not wrong. We're not talking to find anything wrong here, or to find any mistakes. There are no mistakes.
Well, if I said, why is there all this apparent reality, you would probably say no reason.
Absolutely.
Right.
And in a way, one could almost say there is no apparent reality, because all there is what happens. But yes, this is for no reason.
Why?
That's a good one. For no reason. It's for no reason.
Yeah, but why is it for no reason?
Because it is.
There's no answer to this.
What's the point of it all?
Oh, it doesn't have a point.
No, I know that.
It doesn't. Obviously, it doesn't need a point. There is just none.
What about apparent suffering? It's all part of the dream, but why appear to have suffering?
For no reason. It's already it.
Just because.
There's no because of.
Okay.
Because doesn't exist.
Okay.
Me would need an explanation to make it whole for itself.
Oh, so that's my me.
But it's
then
made
to
up.
you,
It
right?
would be made
Okay.
up. You can. There are lots of stories around who may explain why there is suffering on the world, to
Apparent
become
suffering.
conscious or whatever, heal the world. Or
It's so much more relaxing that there's no explanation. Or trying to find an explanation.
there just is none.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there is none.
There is none.
Yeah, because when I'm like, but I need an answer, I feel myself getting really frustrated. And then what you're saying is just like, you know what?
Yeah, you
Teach it.
can read books and then choose which explanation you like most.
Should I do that?
I wouldn't suggest it, but
Have you not done that already?
What, read
But-
the books?
No, read lots of explanations.
No, what's the point? There is no point.
yeah, no one
She
could also
knows it
say
already.
one could also say no explanation would fulfill the need of knowing. It'll be good for a moment. Ah, yeah. It's because of we transcend the world. Good. But it's so fucking painful.
Yeah.
It's
There's a lot of tension in the air, though. You know, just from this world. This world carries a lot of tension, and
well, actually, not really. It's just the me that lives in intention. One could say me lives in a only for the me. Everything is real, and so everything becomes meaning immediately. So there's real good, there's real bad, there's real effort, there's the real sense of I have to do it. It's immediately I have to do it. It lives, one could say, me lives in the pressure of reality.
It's a dilemma that we have been given consciousness. Somehow we are conscious. We think we have an ego, we have all this. So isn't that a chair much more far ahead from us? Because the chair doesn't know it exists.
It's two things. Consciousness isn't bad, but one could say that it methinks that is why it's ahead of everything. But that is it has. One could also almost say it has two coins. Yes, it's the only thing that has consciousness, but on the other hand, it's the only thing that seeks for oneness. That's the price it pays for being conscious. The price for being conscious is to not be able to experience oneness, but only to seek it. And me might invent the story. It's not really a head, because the chair doesn't experience human as a head. It doesn't give a shit about who sits on it. So the story of I'm a head because I'm conscious only takes place within the story of that consciousness. But yeah, there are many people which put it out there. That is what makes us more, or higher, or better. Because we are conscious of a self, which is completely illusory.
Yeah, you can almost say the animals are more advanced than us because they don't, they're not self-conscious.
There just is no advancement.
It's just a story, yeah, I know, but you could almost, in the story you could say that.
Because the end of me is also no advantage. That too just is what remains is sitting in a room and there. There's no advantage towards you. No, there's no advantage.
Less tension?
Yeah, but for no one. They would okay if you
For the
make
body.
that story up. But no, not for the body. It's just
No, yeah.
yeah, for no one. Less apparent tension. So
Apparent must be the most used word in the non-dual language. Apparent.
it contains the message.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
I feel so bad. Apparently.
Just go to the toilet, apparently.
Apparently.
Apparently you're welcome.
So for me, it's always something happens.
Exactly.
Yeah.
For me, it's always something only real. It's a real room, and it's real people, and there's a real issue, and there's a reason for it, and it really must be about something, about my real future enlightenment. Yeah.
And that's all very important.
And it's yeah, of course, it's important for me to be here. Well, as long as the illusion is that it's good for me. Because when me notices, it's not good for me at all, then I shouldn't be here. Then I have to go somewhere else, consciously, to do consciously, to make consciously my life better, in order, as the right path to create that marvelous future experience that I'm heading towards, or that I'm living towards. Because this isn't yet it. But if I do the right things, this might lead me there. And that is what me does here too. Me completely overlooks that this is everything, that is what it seeks, hoping to get something here for its future fulfillment. I don't have anything to give. That's it, already. There's nothing else.
Talk about humour.
Either it appears or it doesn't. There is no value in that too. It just is what happens or not.
Humour is a relief from the suffering.
Don't
Maybe
know.
it's momentary, but
Yeah, but it doesn't. There's no value in that. No real value, let's say. Within the story of me, of course, when there is tightness and this explodes into an experience of laughter, but that just is what happens. And it's as good as the suffering. It feels different, but there is no, in that sense, there is no difference.
Are we a cosmic accident, or did something create us?
If you want to say so, this is the cosmic accident. That's all there is. There isn't a big cosmic thing. That's all there is. That's the universe.
When in the old days when I took a lot of LSD, I saw there was no more ego, there was the flow, there was one with everything. So I had this feeling that I'm totally part of the cosmos, and I even didn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
So is that another illusion?
I can't tell from.
Was I there?
I can't tell from. I can't tell what was going on there, but I have to confess that when I took LSD, there mostly was someone watching it. There was an awareness going on about that. But when there is no one, there just is no one. But looking back here, there were many experiences of wholeness, of connectedness, of bliss, of wonder, but I was actually always there experiencing it.
Ego.
The dream. Yeah, ego, so to speak. Not wrong, not bad. But it wasn't liberation, so it wasn't the death.
So
It was something. I mean, me can have all kinds of experiences. It doesn't have to be daily life. It is bliss, ecstasy. It can be everything. Very spiritual experiences. Heart openings. Feelings of oneness, of complete, which come and go. They start and they end. And mostly, even in between, there is someone experiencing it.
So maybe as long as you remember something, there's always a you.
One could say so, yeah. Yes and no. I mean, remembering something does happen too, but yeah, one could say so. That there is an experience, as long as there is an experiencer running at the side, having a real experience. And the real experience can also be that nothing is real, which happens on drugs. Me can experience that reality is relative. but that's its real experience. Then,
Can you repeat that?
me can experience a lot of things, also a lot of spiritual things. It can experience that time is relative. It can experience that reality is relative. It can experience that it's not necessarily true what I think. That all can happen within its experience, but then that is its real experience. And so after that, me sitting there saying, I know that this isn't real. I've seen it. I've experienced it. Or, yeah, of course, time is a construct. Still assuming that there is something as time. Somehow. Still assuming that there is a reality. Somehow.
But how did you link it with drugs?
Oh, that's one method. I mean, some people, they just breathe for 4 hours and everything is shining. And you don't need drugs, but on drugs, most people know it is drugs. That reality isn't. After the drugs, I tried it with breathing. That's why I know. But it doesn't have to be drugs. But many people have extraordinary experiences on drugs. That's all. But many don't. Some people don't need drugs at all. Just have it. Or
And what are the people who take drugs create through that? Do they have like a, people who take regular drugs? Do you think that is some help to see that's there anywhere?
no,
nothing?
it's no help at all. I wouldn't suggest it. No, it's not. It was good, but I wouldn't suggest it. No, it's no help. There is no help.
No,
What's
but more like
There is
seeing
no.
that there's nothing.
Who? No. Who would see that there is seeing that there is nothing? It sounds a bit like. Oh, this is all there is. Who? Nothing needs to be seen. It doesn't need to be seen that this is nothing. It's nothing anyway. There's no need for anything.
But if I have a friend who is in drugs and maybe I should help him, or there's no need to help him.
Both. I don't know. Maybe you should help him, but of course there is no need to help him.
How could you help him?
Right.
That's the other question. There's no answer to that.
I know from my experience, sometimes I've been in a situation where apparently a person needed help, and I could just be there, just having another person there, or just holding their hand, or something just like a grounding. If somebody's really in pain with drugs.
Yeah, I don't.
It's
Sounds
like
good,
if somebody's
but
dying.
yeah, Yeah.
Apparently they just
It-
want somebody to hold their hand, they don't want to be alone.
yeah. It seems to be good to just be there, whatever that is.
Just be there.
Yeah. But if that is what apparently happens, then
Yeah.
that it is. In a way, no one asks if it's good or bad, or if it
No.
just is what happens. And
Yeah.
yeah, it seems to be that it's good, whatever good is. So.
It's apparently obvious in that moment.
Or whatever.
Earlier on when Zoe was asking you, like, what's your experience and da-da-da, could you say that would be whatever would be happening, like, so as a complete kind of thing? So that would just be what was ever happening in the moment?
Yeah, but it would just be a story. Yeah.
The whole thing, like, no separate, so this is it now, like, this is...
Yeah, but in a way to assume that there is a future, it would just be something told. Yeah, it would be an apparent explanation.
So whatever the experience, like, this is it now, this is...
Yeah, but also this is, it would come into a story of there's a now and there will be another now and there's another now.
Whatever's happening, basically.
So, yeah, all there is what happens.
What is,
and it's timeless and spaceless. So, yeah, and as an assumption, one could say what might, if all there is no thing, one might assume that in an assumed future, all there is might be no thing too, but which really doesn't say anything. I have no idea what will be, because there is in that sense no what will be. There is no in 5 seconds, there is no in 10 seconds, in 10 years.
Only ever what is.
So to speak. Yeah, ever what, it's
And
timeless.
it's not.
Yeah. But it's not always. It's just timeless.
Yeah.
It's completely ungraspable. Yeah.
So we have our life, our physical body, and we just play the game until the end, and that's all we can do. Your message does not include that we have to be nice to each other.
No, absolutely not.
Nothing.
I mean,
we can do whatever we want.
In the end, you can't even do whatever you want. But doing whatever you want may apparently happen. But you might also find yourself failing in that. There just is what apparently happens.
No one in control, is there?
There's no one in control. In that sense, one could say this message includes everything. Nothing is excluded. But it doesn't have to be done. It cannot be done. It doesn't have to be realized, because what we talk about, let's say, is already realized. This is the complete realization of wholeness. Already. And in that, one can say, it doesn't matter what you do or don't do, because you doing or not doing is what happens. There is no one doing or not doing anything. But yeah, it doesn't imply any requirements like being good to each other. Usually people fail in that too. They try, but
we understand that message, do you think this changes automatically or not? I mean,
Well,
it's a message.
it is an apparent change, but they may some concepts may be replaced by clearer concepts, or some things may fall away, but understanding it isn't really what is talked about, because understanding it would just be me understanding it, but the seeking energy would just go on.
So we don't take things so serious anymore.
Maybe that can happen, but doesn't have to actually.
That makes sense. Nothing makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly, it doesn't really make sense. I mean, me can become very serious about it, about actually knowing this, but still seeking. It can turn into a very serious problem to understand that message for the me. It can be everything.
Sometimes I enjoy watching myself make a problem out of nothing.
At least.
So this me's concepts changing. So before it might have thought that you could do something, now it thinks it can't do something.
Yeah,
It's kind of neither here nor there. It's not.
it's not what it's being said in the
No.
end.
Even though partly that might make things easier or
Yeah,
whatnot.
both standpoints feel good and feel bad
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
some extent. So being the doer feels good as long as everything works out fine.
Yeah.
But if it doesn't
Yeah.
work out fine,
You'd
then
rather
being
not.
the doer,
Yeah, you'd rather not
It's
get
very
someone else to
crappy.
do it.
then it's better to just let it happen.
So it's the experience really that's, I'm going to say the problem, but the crux, the central.
Of course, me,
Yeah.
I experience something. Yeah. That's the dream, so to speak.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's not really saying that you can't do anything. There's just is no you. Because sooner or later me will experience itself as the doer again. It will lean back and let it happen. But it also only works as long as everything works out fine.
I said this yesterday, you saying to someone who experienced himself as there is no you, is just
Again?
you saying to somebody that there is no you.
I'm not really even saying it
Yeah.
to somebody.
You're not saying this. If coming from somebody, then you can only say it to somebody. So.
That's
Yeah.
true, but there isn't somebody. So I don't say it to you. In order for you to
I just dream that you are.
exactly that I'm talking to you from another standpoint.
Or that is my experience.
Exactly, that is because apparently there is someone experiencing himself as something separate and assuming that here is something separate inside too. That knows what he says. That I give important information to you. Me might assume that I have something to say, or that I'm saying something, but I'm not. I'm very honest today.
In a way, it's not very useful information. You can't really, you can't really.
It's absolutely useless.
No practicality.
Not at all. No, not at all.
just it kind of, you can imagine, it can give a sense of frustration.
That's the best it can do. No, yeah, that can happen. For the me, that
Or
can
not.
happen. It would be an illusory frustration because the me
Yeah,
itself
yeah.
is illusory. But yeah,
Within that experience, it could be frustration at
absolutely,
trying to seeing that you can't work it out, and
it's
you
for
want
the
to work it out. And
for the me. It's absolutely frustrating. Yeah. What this message says is, you will never get what you seek. And all you've done or not done in order to get it was futile. It was for nothing.
yeah, it doesn't.
Like this lady now walking out, she was very frustrated.
Yeah, I think so.
So why should we spread such a frustrating message?
Oh, well, I wouldn't suggest to spread it. Well, I'm just sitting here. You came. I'm not standing on the marketplace and ding, 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 there is no one. I wouldn't do that.
I wouldn't imagine that I could, because I'm not it.
It's impossible. No, it's impossible. It's nothing that has to be spread. No one needs to know that. It's not needed. It doesn't change
happens.
anything.
That it happens on its own.
Yeah, like as everything else. It just is what apparently happens. But it's not helping anyone. It's not making anything better. So there's no need to spread it. There's no need for anyone to hear it. No.
So why are we here then?
You are not here. For no reason. But yeah, when there is someone, I have to be here for some reason, because I can't just be here. It must be for something. No. That's it. That's all there is. It's for nothing. It can't be for anything else. It's already everything. And one could say what this message does in a way is pointing to something that already is, but for no reason.
It's all just coming out of nothing.
It is all nothing. Yeah. It's not really coming out of anything.
No.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
I'm considering this sort of talk, considering knocking this, and, like, moving on and trying something else. Like, gets, do you know what I mean? Go maybe take up something new hobby or something like that. But I can see also that within that new hobby, shall we say, you'll have that same frustration in a way.
wherever me is,
Yeah.
me is trying to find something that isn't there. So me is failing constantly in trying to find one. And one could say that's why it keeps on seeking, because it never finds. But all me thinks about it is I don't find because I'm not good enough. I haven't seeked enough. I wasn't sincerely enough.
So that's its reason for not not being fulfilled.
That is what comes back for the me. That me experiences itself as the doer, so for the me is, actually I should be able to do it, and as it didn't work out, it must be my fault, because I wasn't able to do it.
In a way, being a doer and being a doer is not being fulfilled. Because if you want to do it, then you
being a doer means that you are someone separate. So it's not the doing thing itself, it's just the experience of being someone.
Yeah, I mean that tension to have to do and to think you have to do. Yeah.
In a way, already just being me is tense.
Yeah. So do are all they're just words just to describe.
But there is a sense of I have to do it, do
Yeah.
it. Or at least, I mean, it can switch to I have to experience it. I can't do anything. I have to let it happen. Which
Even
is
that's
also
doing
a
it,
kind of
yeah.
doing. But yeah, it's also tense because there's still is the idea that something has, that's not it. And something still has to happen. And as a method or as a help, me might say, okay, then I put it in God's hands and I just wait. But
Which is also
it would be also
Yeah. that tension.
yeah, it would be saying tense in the same way. There would be still a struggle going on with what is and the need that something else happens for me or comes to me.
Sort of
And that I have to at least be aware to not miss it.
So that brings me on to what I was about to say. You're sort of always on in a sense, kind of switched on. You're alive. You're switched on.
Yeah, who? Me.
Me.
You think?
Well, it thinks it's
Yeah, me thinks it's, I'm there. As
looking at,
something.
observing.
Exactly, and immediately everything starts. And there's a separate reality. I have to be aware and watchful. What can I do? Why am I here? Is this good for me? What do I get out of this? Will this add to my future fulfillment or not? Shall I go? Shall I leave? Is it good? Do I feel good?
Pretty good at describing what happens in my brain.
Oh,
I can't imagine you have a young child and to not have any story anymore and to have a child. Because I have 2 daughters and I had them very young when I had so many stories. And
yeah, but I wouldn't say that there are no stories. Or what do you mean by stories?
well, like you said, there's not the story of I have to do this. My child's going to be better if I do this. Uh-oh, I didn't do this. Now my child's going to be fucked up. Oh, you know.
Oh, these stories are definitely around, but there's no one having them.
Okay.
That's not my reality, but of course,
Yeah.
there's just
They
life
come in.
happening.
The stories come in, but they're not attached.
They are what is.
They don't hook. They just come in.
Absolutely, yeah, they just are what they are. It, in a way, there aren't just only stories. They are what happens.
Okay.
But there is no one in that, living with that in reality.
Of course, I don't get it.
Yeah.
I can't get it.
Of
I'm
course,
not
thoughts
there.
happen as he shouldn't eat so much sugar, or well, I don't know.
Okay, that's different.
That's just a
I'm talking
function.
about the psychological
Yeah,
stories.
maybe too. But that's just an apparent functioning, which happens, which doesn't need a me to be there. But of course, if there is someone there, me would live only in that reality. That, oh God, he's really fucked up because I did it wrong.
Yeah, yeah.
I shouted at him too loud and so on.
Yeah.
I destroyed his life. That would be me's reality.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just like not to have that with me.
Except without me, one could say what happens is fathering, but for no one.
Oh, yeah. Apparently, fathering is natural. It's natural.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or not.
For some happens in absence.
Or not.
but-
For some, it's not natural,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
I
it
don't-
just is what it is.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's what
Yeah.
it is. I don't know.
Yeah. Can I have just a brief time check? I don't know if my clock is working right. It's half past 12.
Half past.
Okay. one could say me wants to get rid of its stories because it suffers from their reality.
Yeah.
So don't go into the story.
Okay.
Realize that you're not the story.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Detach from it.
Can I say if I didn't suffer, I wouldn't be here? If I hadn't suffered, I wouldn't be here. Can
No.
I say that or not?
No.
Okay.
I mean, you can say that.
Okay, no.
Of course you can say
No,
that.
this is
but-
interesting.
Nobody hasn't suffered.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I'm just seeing it in another
No,
dimension.
you're here for no reason, but in the end you're not even here, so
Yeah.
yeah.
But in a way, the story is it too. Like, it's all,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah.
But by saying detach from the story, is that not creating a separation? In
Oh, it was a joke.
Oh,
It was a joke, but that is what some spiritual teachers.
Right, yeah. Like the
teach.
me, only the me could
That's
detach
your
from
method,
it.
exactly. Detach from the story. You know,
Yeah.
I said
Got it.
me suffers from its stories
Yeah,
because for the me they are real.
yeah.
So some teachers teach to go out of the story
Yeah,
or
step
to
back.
step
Yeah,
exactly,
yeah.
take a step back.
But you can't because it's all, there is no separate story to the,
It would just remain within the story. It seems to work for some people, and it feels like cooling down for a moment. What me likes to take a step back and okay, now I'm safe. It doesn't touch me. I don't have to feel that intensity. So some people teach it, but you have to do it over and over again. You have to go on. You have to keep up the work.
And it's one of the fundamentals of therapy, isn't it? To have some
Yeah.
distance from.
Or Buddhism,
Observe.
I'm not the
Observe,
emotion, but
yeah.
I have some distance.
the neutral watcher.
So you,
A whole religion is created. The whole awareness movement is out of that idea.
There is beauty in it.
In what?
Well, I did this training for hospice, working with people that were dying, and one of the things that they taught us in the beginning in the training is to realize what this person is giving up. They did it in a certain way that was very simple, but that when you walk through that door, what this person is giving up, okay, and they're my everything.
Yeah.
Okay. So when you walk through the door, it's just said leave your baggage at the door. Well, I never actually did that before.
Good work.
And, the more that I did it, the more it became like really a cool thing. It's like, yeah, walk in there and be with them.
Yeah, I mean, methods tend to be helpful.
Well, I never even imagined it, doing that. And then I did it. And
Well, in a way, it is what happened. But,
yeah.
yeah, because I think a lot of teachers do say that, so you're not the story and all that kind of thing, and in a way that's creating like a separation because on some
it
level
confirms it. It's not really creating it, but it confirms it. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's mostly That's what mostly happens.
Because on one kind of level you could say all there is the story, really. Even though it's not how we see it as a separate thing, because without this, there's nothing, like in deep dream or sleep in a way, isn't it? So kind of in that teaching, it makes the story out to be a really bad thing, like in a way.
Exactly. That's the
very-
other thing, that in a teaching, there's always something that has to be done, or there's a step.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, this is it, and this is...
And of course, that is what mostly happens in the end, in every kind, but also in spirituality. The seeker comes, and the master say, "Yeah, do that." It's just within the game of separation. Both confirm themselves to be someone and to be in certain positions. And as I said, for some times it seems to help. So detach from the story, and for 10 years the disciple detaches from the story and sometimes succeeds and sometimes fails. And because he sometimes succeeds, it seems like the right path because it works, but I'm failing, of course, because I'm not good enough. And so try harder, you have to try harder.
These masters, they give with the
Exactly, and then the master comes, you're on a good path, just keep up the work. It will lead you to, it's all, there's no connection to this.
Yeah, like even saying, oh, it's just a story, you know what I mean? That's kind of, again,
Exactly.
creating a separation in a way, because it's not, it's life, like it's, wow.
Absolutely.
This is
I mean,
everything. Like,
Yes
and
and
nothing.
no, because one could say it's just a story because the dilemma is for the me, it's real.
yeah, that.
But I
part
know
side
what
of
you
it.
mean, it's
Yeah.
not just a story.
Yeah, it's life, like wow. Like, yeah.
And me would try to use this to not feel as it feels.
Yeah, in that way. Oh, it's just a story, so you don't feel any of that.
Exactly, yeah, it's just a story. I shouldn't feel sad
Yeah,
about
yeah.
what famines in the world or
Yeah,
whatever.
Yeah,
Should be enlightened.
yeah.
You know in The Matrix, have you seen The Matrix?
No.
Has Andreas viewed The Matrix?
I haven't seen it. I've watched the first movie, but it's...
Okay, so basically on that point that Marianne's making, like the little kid has the spoon and the spoon bends and she gives it to Neo and she says something like, "Do not try to bend the spoon. Simply realise there is no spoon." So is it kind of a bit like that? We're talking about stories and not detaching, because then it means you're making.
Yes and no, but
separation.
because, I mean, this is the basic idea. I know Matrix is full of interesting ideas, but looking at it closely, it just comes back to a personal thing. So, me saying to you, yeah, just realize that it's all a dream, would have nothing to do with what's actually said here. Because this is the big dream of I am, that I can realize that I can realize one. I just have to be a little bit different than I am, and then I would be there. No, this can't be realized.
So what are we saying? So say there's me and I'm feeling like me and separate and I'm caught up in my story of all the
Yeah, I can't
stuff.
help you. There is no you to help.
That's what I'm saying, isn't it? That realise that there is no you.
One could turn it into that, but that's not really what I'm saying, because who would realize that?
Okay, so say again what you're saying.
There is no one there,
Okay. So that's what you're saying.
apparently.
Apparently.
So rather than saying there is no one there, you can just say there just is what it is, and it's all one.
It's all
No
same,
thing. Yeah,
nothing.
it's all
Yeah.
just
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
All there is this. There is
yeah,
no
this is it,
separation.
and yeah,
This all there is. Yeah,
it's not separate. It's just yeah.
exactly. It's just not needed. This neediness is illusory. The need to find a path for oneness is a complete dream. There's no one here who needs to find anything,
Because all there is one.
because all there is already is whole and complete.
So there's no need to describe why there's no separation. You know?
No.
There's no need.
There's no need for
Sometimes me has to try and go no separation because it's just it's just all one. That's not even about that.
this. No, it's about. That's really not about anything.
Yeah.
It can't be about anything because it already is everything. There's nothing else this could be about. A greater goal or... No.
But isn't it about just this moment, just this moment? Not the second before or after, it's only here and now?
One, yes and no, because in a way there is not even a here and now. Because when you say this moment, it immediately turns into something very, very small. That
yeah, I know what you're
moment.
saying, but
And it's a thing which in a way immediately includes a before and an after. Because if you have that part, then automatically there is something there. So I wouldn't say that it's about here and now. I would really say it's about nothing.
yeah, but before you were saying yes, we are here in the room, here we are, but that
Yeah.
is like this moment, that's what we are, here and now.
I say one could say so, but it's not real. I say this is all there is, but I never said this moment actually. Yeah, sorry. But then again, it isn't about that. It just is all there is. But there is nothing. Me might turn it into be present in the here and now. But
Well, it's being part of it all, isn't it? Being one with everything, not having separation.
exactly,
And that's
that is what
what's
already.
happening
Exactly.
now.
Yeah. Yes, that is what already happens. So in that sense, it's not about it because it already is like that.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
I kind of like what you say about this apparent idea of present moment, because I've, have years of
Trying to
wanting
come
be-
here and
yeah,
now.
trying to be the present.
Yeah. Someone else.
But I see what it's very clear to me when you said that, because it becomes a concept.
It's impossible.
It becomes a concept because here's the present moment. So then automatically there's a before and an after.
It comes
where
out of.
even it's more liberating without before and after.
It comes
Yes.
out of an understanding and making up a construct about how things are.
Yeah, it just feeds the mind more.
I mean, I've heard in the US, well, I don't know the English word, but people go crazy on trying to become here and now and end up at the psychologist.
Yeah.
There's a big movement in that in the US. There are
No, I know.
some popular teachers around teaching that.
I know, it's like people starve themselves to death because they think they have to be a vegan. And they end up being seriously ill because they're starving their body.
Yeah.
To get on these concepts of
It's
the higher
just-
ultra spirituality, and it can be very dangerous actually.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Yeah,
I'm
whatever.
not-
Yeah. Me fails. Me will fail. But it might feel good for a while, and it might even feel relaxing, because that is what may feel good about it, that for a moment you come out of your stories and seem to have a very profound, okay, this is all there is, so just let the stories go. So for a moment I'm here, but
Well, it's building
Okay.
building a structure that's safe, like feeling safe inside the structure of being something else.
I didn't get that.
Okay, yeah.
No.
Well, let's say being a vegan.
Okay, yeah, being someone, creating it. Yeah, that's
So then
it.
you have this
To know
structure
who I
which
am.
includes like loads of stuff and lots of people. So you feel safe in that for a while.
Yeah, me feels safe in knowing who I am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a way of controlling your reality, isn't it? To be here and now.
Yeah, it's some sort of, it's a
It's
doing.
just a way of life, or a way of getting what you want, really.
Yeah, it's another method
Yeah, it's
Which-
another method.
which doesn't work. And
It's the heat and being the present, as if there's something special about the present, as if the stories. Do you know what I'm getting? As if being present is something about
Good, there is a very high value in spirituality about being present.
But that's the dream, that it's not even... Is
It's
it
an
present,
arti-
as if presence is pure reality, shall we say, or... If you get what I'm saying. As if...
Thanks. No, I mean that is it's in spirituality. There are so many ideas about this presence thing, but in a way, one could say that is one thing me can work on, because that is all me has. It's presence, and as it's trying to become wholeness as a personal thing, so it has. So that in itself, it's even logic. It's all me knows. It's presence.
Yeah.
And so how can I become wholeness or one with that presence? With there being absolute presence? But it's always something that happens here. It's all something that is me, in contrast to an experience.
So there's no presence, there's no...
No, that presence is illusory. It's an artificial state, and me, in a way, by using that method, even intensifies it. It feels totally crappy, but together with the story of I'm so present, it works.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, because it is as if the presence is something, but all it is me
being there.
And it's totally...
Yeah, like the difference of really actually listening to somebody when they speak to you. Like,
And of
people could call that being in the present moment, but it's not.
there is no
It's
one.
just being there and listening. Somebody's talking.
Yeah, I wanted to joke before, because I'm now failing even in being there. But no, it's just what happens. There's, in that sense, no one being there.
So it's just a doing, it's a measure, it's a doing me has.
Absolutely, it's
Yeah.
exactly. It's not meditating, it's not healing, it's not whatever. It's now I become present.
In a way, if you really analyse it, me is always present.
That's what I'm exactly. That's already an apparently artificial reality. But one method would be to intensify that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And to really single it out and
And I mean the idea about this, which is also in itself, it has some logic about this being here in the present moment, of course has, me can in a way understand that all it has is its experience.
yeah.
And so it tries, how can I squeeze out as much out of what I experience?
Yeah.
That works if I'm present as I am. The more I experience, the fuller gets my experience.
Yeah.
With the idea that if I experience to the total, then I experience everything,
Brilliant.
Yeah.
then I'm fulfilled.
Yeah.
Kind of greedy, you know, trying to be more of me.
It's very attractive, isn't it?
Yeah,
pure-
but it completely fails.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it's hugely attractive, that idea of, what do we call it? Pure experiencing, you could say. Pure experience.
Yeah, without any story.
Yeah, that pure experience. So I'm just fully, mindfulness is, you could say.
I'm pure present.
Yeah, just pure experience without me. So I can even pretend that I'm not in that pure experience.
Absolutely, yeah. Feels
I
very.
can tell a story about that quite easily.
How many years?
Oh, I wasn't good at it.
Okay.
Not many years.
Is there a cosmos?
No.
Andreas, can you say more about thinking?
It's a function. It is what apparently happens.
Why is it so like incessant? Why can it appear to be?
In a way, thinking is one method of the me is to seek in thinking. It assumes that it experiences real thoughts, real thinking, and it assumes a truth in there. So what happens for many people is that it fuels thinking by hoping to find something in there. Because one method of how I can become whole is if I understand that. So there's the whole analyzing thing and what it's about and what should I do, and that's what seems to happen. That's what apparently happens.
So in the apparent story of the me, it's part of the
It's a dialogue. Me has a dialogue with its thoughts.
Right. Always.
Mostly, yeah. Yeah.
And in the absence of me, there is presumably the absence of that apparent dialogue.
Exactly, then there's a monologue.
What's this? Can you say more about the monologue?
No, because there's no one there to listen to it. I can't say more about that.
What do you mean? I don't quite understand.
Thoughts just apparently happens as an apparent function of being a human. But they're not disturbing anyone, or no one listens to them, or...
So there's no interaction of two opposing parts?
Exactly.
Okay. So it's still, thought still happens even in the absence
Apparently.
of me?
Not really, but apparently.
Even in the absence of me?
Yeah, because me isn't in that sense creating thoughts.
So if
This would be another dream of the me, that I do think, I do thoughts.
So if there were no me, then there would still be the thoughts, but they wouldn't be disturbing. You said they wouldn't be disturbing.
One could say so, yeah.
They just happen.
Apparently. Yeah, they don't really happen, because nothing really happens.
Okay.
It's an assumption, actually, that there are thoughts. I don't know. I guess so.
They don't go around in circles anymore.
Exactly, there is no one running in circles, trying to find a solution in the thought. Yeah.
Is it nice, Andreas?
I have no idea.
Come on!
Is it nice?
It looks nice.
Because it'd be like functioning thoughts. I think Ramesh Bhaskar talks about the two types, like the me ones and the functioning ones, like, oh, I've got to get up now and get the train. You know, those kind of things. Just the functioning mind.
One could say so, maybe
would be
there's
the
something.
only ones that would probably arise then.
Yeah. Yeah, one could say so.
Out of nothing when they need to.
Thoughts can be trippy, apparently they can be trippy. Sometimes, from experience, sometimes you could suddenly have an experience, gee, I've just been tripping for a couple of days on thoughts.
Yeah, that can happen.
Almost like you woke up out of your experience.
Yeah, out of the... Yeah.
Yeah.
Full circle, then...
Yeah, and then maybe back in again.
Yeah.
Some people just talk to themselves out loud.
Schizophrenia.
You can name it something.
Yeah, like they call it that. We're all kind of schizophrenic in a way when we think. Because there is always those two opposing things going on when the me is there, isn't there? I should do that, or maybe I should do that, and that's always the opposites, the two possibilities. Kind of
Yeah,
when
me
you're
knows, mostly me knows everything actually already. It knows that it shouldn't eat sugar, but it knows that it should enjoy life, so...
Yeah, it's always opposing.
No, me knows in a way everything. It knows all the past. It knows it should let go. It knows it shouldn't believe that. It knows that actually I'm not real. It knows everything. It's completely useless. Has read everything already.
Yeah. There's nothing to learn.
There's nothing to learn. Everything was useless. Nothing ever worked, and nothing ever will work. And the good thing is, nothing ever has to work. Because all there is what apparently happens. All there is this, and it's already
full and whole and complete. Thanks for coming.
Thank you, Andreas.
Thank you.
Bravo.
Bravo.
Bravo.